Hello everyone and welcome to Fluent Financial's What You Should Know for the week of August 9th. My name is Mike Lenise and I'm your portfolio manager at Fluent Financial. This past week, the market closed higher with the S&P and the Dow ending at record highs with strong job reports pushing numbers. Better than expected July payrolls and a bigger than anticipated drop in the jobless rate pushed interest rates sharply higher with the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield jumping more than 8 basis points to 1.3%. The payrolls gain also put pressure on metals with gold futures settling at their worst daily drop since mid-June. A host of headlines about new policies and restrictions hit this past Tuesday, including New York City requiring proof of vaccination for entry into restaurants, gyms, and other leisure events. Most of these directives, though, came from private companies rather than government entities. More than 2.2 million people went through the airport checkpoints, according to TSA, this past week, notching the highest number since February 28, 2020, just as the shutdown was beginning. Airlines are struggling to rebuild their networks and have been caught short-staffed after urging employees to take buyouts or leaves of absence to cut their labor costs. So any of you going through the airport may have noticed it's a bit of a headache at this time. Oil plunged to a 3-week low, extending losses after the worst week since October as the resurgence of the COVID-19 Delta variant threatened the outlook for fuel demand. Oil futures fell below 66 a barrel in New York after sliding almost 8% last week. For the week, the Nasdaq rose 1.1% to lead all the major averages despite Friday's decline. The S&P rose 0.9% and the Dow Jones rose 0.8% this past week. Year to date, the S&P is up 18.12%, while our stock portfolio, V&O, is up 18.23%. For the week ahead, we have some inflation checking numbers coming out with the Consumer Price Index as well as the Producer Price Index. There's also a bipartisan infrastructure bill that's working its way through the Senate. Over the weekend, the Senate passed a cloture vote on the $1 trillion infrastructure package. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin said the 2,700-page measure will likely pass before the end of the week. And just for reference, the Bible is around 2,800 pages. So they're going to process that in 1 week's time or less. For our earnings report, 85% of the S&P companies have reported, which is about 426 companies. The second quarter earnings per share growth estimate was 62%, but is coming in at over 101%. Revenue growth that was expected to be up 18% year over year is coming in at 27.7%. So we're seeing really strong earnings numbers. And just for a reference point, the first quarter earnings that were fantastic had earnings up 35% and revenue up 11% from their year over year numbers. Again, coming off a pretty low base 12 months ago during the pandemic. We have some earnings coming out this week that are interesting, including AMC, Coinbase, Lordstown Motors, and Baidu. The only thing that we own that is coming out with earnings this week is going to be Norwegian Cruise Lines, symbol NCLH. For an options update, we are 3 weeks through the 5-week option cycle that expires August 20th. Our stock income portfolio has generated 1.29% this month after selling 60% of the possible calls. 20% of the portfolio is in the money at this time, and the portfolio is up 3.11% versus the S&P up 2.53% through the first 3 weeks of the 5-week session. The Advantage portfolio also generates covered call income, and it has generated 0.87% these first 3 weeks, and we sold 50% of the possible calls with 45% of the portfolio currently in the money. The Advantage portfolio is up 3% these first 3 weeks versus the S&P, again, up 2.53%. Feel free to leave your comments or questions to this post. Click the like button to share it if you felt that it was informative. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit fluentfinancial.com for further information. As always, thank you for tuning in to What You Should Know, and have a great week.